Hey, Battalion Nation.
We have a live show on location.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We're going to have trouble getting 2 points.
Brought to you by Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad Beverages. Hey fans, Happy New Year! Welcome to 2026. We are live on location right now at the Boart Longyear Memorial Gardens as we get ready for episode 13 of Troops Trio. We now head inside where it's nice and warm. We've got Ranjan, Bob, and Matt Sookram.
Thank you, AJ. Before we really get into tonight's episode, we have to take a moment to pass along our condolences to the friends and family of longtime OHL and CHL Commissioner Dave Branch, who passed away on Sunday at the age of 77. Bob, you've covered this league going back to the North Bay Centennial days, so you've watched this league change and grow under his leadership and guidance. What do you think of the legacy that he left behind before his retirement in 2024?
You know, we could talk for several hours about the impact Dave Branch has had on junior hockey. Just this week, Gord Miller talked about him during the coverage of the World Juniors. Gary Bettman was mentioning the impact Dave Branch has had. For me, he changed the business of hockey, no doubt about it. What you see on the ice, the smaller players, the Cam Warrens of the world, 25, 30 years ago, they wouldn't have been playing in the OHL. He opened up the game. Made it a more exciting game, a game focused on speed, but also the business side of it. It's never easy to make decisions when you have 20 owners, for example, and Dave Branch did a great job of really coming up with a lot of unified decision. And don't forget, he just wasn't the OHL president, he was the CHL commissioner for a long time as well. My personal story of Dave Branch is I remember when the Battalion announced they were moving to North Bay from Brampton, and we wanted to do the games in Brampton. And someone said, well, we can't do the games. Why not? We don't have the rights. Well, someone phoned Dave Branch, and we phoned Dave Branch, and Dave Branch gave us the rights to do the game. So me and Matt here, we went to Sudbury, did a couple of playoff games with the Brampton Battalion playing the Sudbury Wolves. We did 3 games in Brampton as they wrapped up that part of their history. And it's that kind of one-on-one contact, too, that it didn't matter who you were. If you had an issue that you wanted to be addressed by the league, Dave Branch would help you take care of it. And you also mentioned our guest last week we interviewed, the previous podcast, Mr. Butterworth. And that's how he got his job, so just by a contact with Dave Branch. So amazing impact on junior hockey over the last half century, really. And the league's going to miss him for sure.
I think Dave Branch, his legacy will last a long time. And we have his banner here at this arena as it is in all arenas in the league, and with good reason. My time with Dave Branch, I've met him and had conversations with him maybe 4 times since the Battalion have come here. When he came to North Bay, he would always stop in the broadcast booth and made me feel welcome as a new broadcaster back in 2013. And then the few times the other times that I had a chance to meet him, he was very much a gentleman. And that's what I'm going to remember most about him, is a guy who was enormously impactful on the game of hockey in Canada. Everyone who's an OHL grad who's in the National Hockey League or has a career in hockey should pay a bit of a debt of honor to Dave Branch. And we're having so much fun with the North Bay Battalion, and Dave Branch is one of the big reasons why we have a franchise now, and so I'll always remember him as a gentleman first and foremost.
Again, from everyone here at Troops Trio, we want to pass along our condolences to the friends and family of Dave Branch, who passed away at the age of 77 on Sunday. Troops Trio is brought to you by Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad Beverages, and proudly sponsored by the Boat North Bay, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, the Fox and Fiddle, the Moose Cookhouse, and the City of North Bay. And we are taping this week's episode of Troops Trio from the friendly confines of Boart Longyear Memorial Gardens. Hope you both had a wonderful holiday and a happy new year to both of you.
You too, Matt. Exciting. Good to get a break, I guess, although not lately with all the hockey, but nice to be back. A new year, a new calendar as it turned over, so it should be a fun second half of the season.
I think with the World Juniors, I actually watched more hockey on my break than I did during the regular season.
Matt, it was nice to hear about your family Christmas break and how you were crushing your children at the family board games.
Just pounded them.
How do you crush them at Clue? How does that work?
You win probably 3 games in a row before they finally give up and realize that Daddy should have been a detective in another life.
And then they cry.
And then they cry. You go, there's no crying at Christmas. There's no crying in Clue.
Let's play again.
All right, guys. Want to thank you guys for joining me as always. And like I said, it's our first episode since the new year, so we have so much to get to. First, want to thank Cole Butterworth, the VP of the Ontario Hockey League, for joining us on our last show. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely go check it out on the Battalion YouTube channel. And thanks again to Mr. Butterworth for taking the time out of his busy schedule to sit down with the Troops Trio. The Battalion themselves have been busy on and off the ice. They've made a couple of trades, and we'll get to that in a little bit later in our show. But first, let's look back on the past couple of games. They lost a tight game to Kitchener on New Year's Eve. That was last Wednesday. They dropped that next game 6-2 to the Wolves in Sudbury on Friday, but they picked up what I felt was a much-needed 2 points against the Wolves in the return match at home on Sunday. Bob, your thoughts on their recent play?
Well, 4 games since Christmas, and they've lost 3 of them. I thought that they played pretty well against Barrie, although Barrie was missing a couple of World Junior guys. And they just ran into Ben Revick, who's on a heater right now for Barrie in net. And then a solid effort against Kitchener. Just couldn't score. Had trouble again getting the puck in the net. And as we'll hear later from Coach Olahan about, he was disappointed with Friday's game. Didn't go as well. Sudbury won handily, but they rallied and didn't lose that back-to-back scenario on Sunday. And he really liked their effort on Sunday. A convincing performance.
That was tough competition. Barrie and Kitchener, 2 of the best teams in the league. And Sudbury, anything can happen whenever you go into Sudbury, both on the ice and off the ice, as we saw. And I think that Sudbury Friday night, they come back and you have a good win. I've always found that this team responds with a really honest effort after getting kind of an embarrassing loss. And I don't mind that, because I feel that the coaches then get the players' full attention. And then I think we're in for a good little spell here, and it's going to be good on Thursday night against Ottawa. We know what we're up against, and tuning up for that with a strong win on Sunday helps.
Yeah, I think, again, looking back, that, as you said, Bob, the 2 teams, Barrie and Kitchener, I felt that at times North Bay were the better team. They just couldn't score, and it seems like the Battalion have sort of addressed that through the trade this week. And, again, we'll touch on that in just a little bit, but I felt like for large chunks that they were the better team in those games. And then the Friday night one, like you said, Ranj, was just really a letdown. But, yeah, they finally got the goals they needed in that Sunday game against the Sudbury Wolves, which was really nice to see because, like you said, Ranj, they are a team that has responded to really tough losses. And that's what that was in Sudbury on that Friday night.
And I think when fans leave the building, it was Procession's second goal, which, they're talking about that move he made from inside the line as he pushed the puck by the defender and then scored the goal and really got the crowd into it at that point. And I think his play has really picked up lately. He's being the leader the team needs him to be, and good work with Nick Wellenreiter on that line, and they were really strong on Sunday, those 2 players specifically.
One thing about those losses that the Battalion mounted 40, 45, and 50 shots, but they didn't get the results. And so as coaching staff, you look at that and say, well, we're getting lots of shots. We're having puck possession, obviously, but you want to look at the quality of the shots. And were they perimeter shots? Were there second chances on those shots and rebounds? Perhaps was there enough net front presence and traffic in front, or was the goalie seeing the shots the whole way? And we're making Ben Rebick look like a superstar and making the Kitchener goalie look like a superstar. But we've had some more net front presence against Sudbury in the win, for sure, on Sunday. And you saw pucks go in, and it was more difficult for Paolo Frasca to make stops on Sunday afternoon.
Well, we weren't the only ones who had things to say about the Battalion recent games. Bobby had a chance to catch up with head coach Ryan Olahan about the win over Sudbury and the couple of losses that preceded that. So, producer Gerald, why don't you play that clip now? This is Ryan Olahan with Bob Coles.
We'll touch on the new acquisitions in a minute, but let's talk about the week that was. A busy schedule over the holidays, 4 games, coming off a win over Sudbury on Sunday. You were in all those games. There wasn't one game where you were outplayed, but I'm sure you're not happy with the results. How do you think the team did overall?
It was a busy week, when you come back from the break. So we had about 9 days off, and then you just come back and it's boom, 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 like 4 games in basically 8 days, I think it was. And overall, again, I always look at how we're playing and try to judge it that way. Pretty happy with our first game back. Thought we deserved better against Barrie in that one. But they found a way to eke out some points. And I said right after that game, we played them 3 times. Our record's 2-1 against them, and I think that's probably how those games had sorted its way out. So that's kind of how we looked at that one. Kitchener, again, I thought we gave a really good effort. They're a good hockey team, and one in which another bounce here or there could have gone our way again. Probably the one that we weren't very happy about was in Sudbury. We had gotten the better of them. They came out extremely hard, home ice for them on the Friday night, and give them credit. I thought we were chasing that game a lot that night. But then, again, it's you got a day in between, northern rival. It's a home-and-home situation. We had to respond on Sunday. And I thought we did a good job. We kind of challenged the players there to step up and play for our building, play for our fans. And we needed to kind of get out of that. In junior hockey, you don't want those momentum swings going, too long when you're not winning games. You got to try to, stop that right there. And we did that on Sunday. Big effort. One of our most complete games probably of the season.
Well, interesting points he makes about the schedule. I think that's a busy stretch, 4 games in 8 days, and you don't know what you're going to get right after because the players have had a week and a half off. But I thought they played pretty solid, really outplayed Barrie. Now, Barrie was missing a couple of key players, no Baudouin, no Aitchison, and Barrie played a great road game, very defensive-minded. Rebick was solid in net, and so the Battalion were a little snake-bitten, I thought, around. They had the chance, and similar story against Kitchener. I think it was Ryder Kelly had that chance, and he hit the post, and the net was empty right in front of him, just snake-bitten again. And disappointment Friday night, but I thought Sunday was one of their better efforts of the year. They really outplayed the Wolves from start to finish, and really full marks for the 2 points. So now everyone's back. Everyone's sort of got some relaxation time to get ready for a quieter week with just 2 games. So I think we'll learn a lot about the troops this week.
What I saw coming back over the Christmas break was a lack of chemistry. We had some players in Ryder Kelly, Cam Warren coming back into the roster, and I think that throws off your chemistry a bit when you have 2 really good players come back. It happens at the NHL level. You have a key player out, the team kind of pulls together and gets through with everyone giving 110%. You get some guys back in the roster, and then it kind of throws things off a bit. And I think that's what we saw, even though we put up some good, a good effort against 2 good teams in Barrie and Kitchener. But, then you lose Kent Greer. I think that's from the last number of games, that's the biggest loss. And Enright not back yet. So that's a big gaping hole in our 6 D-men package. And so we have to get that sorted out. And we're going to talk about the trade deadline and some assets coming our way a little bit later, and that should alleviate some of the pressure there.
Anything else on that?
No, I just think that you mentioned Kent Greer, and I think that's an important factor why they went out and made this trade, get a little tougher maybe on the back end, a little snarl, as the coach will mention in the interview, and we'll see how that pays dividends down the stretch.
Yeah, so let's touch on the trade. Let's touch on it now. I mean, you talked about team chemistry. They're getting 2 new guys that are going to be inserted into the lineup. So if you missed it, the Battalion have acquired overage forward Sebastian Gervais and defenseman Hayden Barge. And Bobby had a chance to catch up with Ryan and ask about these recent acquisitions. So let's hear from Ryan first, and then we'll get our thoughts on the trade. So producer Gerald, let's hear what Coach Uli had to say about the trades.
Gervais gives you a little more depth in the center position, Barch on the back end. So how are these guys going to be used as they step into the lineup this week on Thursday?
Yeah, you know what? We're thrilled to add these 2 players. I think in Gervais what you get is, he's almost played 300 games in the league. He's got playoff experience. He's won a Memorial Cup, played games, on important teams, important situations. He's just going to provide a ton of, sort of veteran presence, I would say. Somebody that can go up and down the lineup, play anywhere. And like you said, he's a natural center, another left shot for us. I think he's going to be a real good fit. And then with Barch on the back end, right shot D-man with a little bit of snarl, I would say. Plays a very direct game, keeps it very, very clean in his own end, and something that, I thought we could use that ingredient a little bit more, and especially the second half and in the playoffs. That's sort of the type of game that you need to play to have some success. So, looking forward to it's a travel day for them today, but looking forward to getting them in practice here and getting them in the lineup.
And I think this trade really accomplishes a couple of things. First of all, you get a little more toughness and meanness on the back end. I think it's something that they've been challenged with this year, and especially with Kent Greer going down. I just think it gives them more options, especially in their own zone. And then Gervais brings a boatload of experience, another overage player, a centerman, makes you a little stronger down the middle. So I just think they're complement their young players with what they have by just showing a little more depth. And a lot of draft picks went the other way, but no real major ones. And so I think they just solidified their roster with a deal that's not getting as much attention as some of the other bigger deals around the league. But I think it'll be interesting how this pays off down the stretch for them.
I like the deal. I know 5 draft picks
Well,
seems
you
like a
predicted
lot.
it, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but
How did you predict it?
you didn't see my Bay Today trade deadline preview?
What did you say?
I said Sebastian Gervais is going to be on their radar. I sure did.
Who are your sources? Reveal your sources.
I can't. That's yeah, no, I just thought that the Battalion would be in the kind of soft buy, going after some overagers where all they would have to give up is draft picks, because I really feel, talking to GM John Winstanley and Adam Dennis and Ryan Olahan, they really like the guys they have here, and I don't think they want to give anybody up. Now, we can talk about this a little bit more and what the corresponding move might be, because you do have some extra bodies on in the locker room right now, so there might have to be a corresponding move, but I don't think they wanted to be in a position where if they were going to go out and get another 19-year-old and it would cost them a 16 or 17-year-old, I think they're out of the market on doing those kinds of deals. So this is the kind of trade I foresaw them making, was an overage guy that was just going to cost maybe a handful of draft picks, and that's what they went out and did.
I think you're absolutely right about that. I don't think John Winstanley wanted to give up any assets in order to acquire assets, because he likes the group he has and he's building up for next season. And you can't do that if you sell away some of your younger players, because they're going to be important next year. I do like picking up a player who has Memorial Cup experience. Over the past number of years at the trade deadline, you saw defending champions liquidate their assets like Hamilton, Peterborough, and then you saw Oshawa was a conference champion as well, and they liquidated assets as well. North Bay didn't get a chance to get any of those pieces. You saw all those pieces go to other teams, and I do see the value of an OHL champion or Memorial Cup champion to the rosters that those assets did go to from those teams. So we finally get a guy like Gervais who has a Memorial Cup ring. I think that's going to be very important down the stretch, and to show some of our younger players how a championship or a player who's won a championship, how they prepare, how they approach the game, how they take instruction from the coaching staff, and the seriousness that they bring having been there themselves.
And those Niagara Battalion games are going to be interesting, right? With Mr. Bart's dad, of course, is coaching Niagara, right? So that should make it Chris Bart. So that should make it those nights interesting for the Barch family.
Yeah, it certainly will. So Gervais comes in, and with his point totals, he is second on the team in terms of overall points with 25. And I think that was also a big focus for the Battalion, is if they're going to go out and get a guy, it's going to be someone that addresses a need that you have right now. And I think scoring or consistent scoring was the biggest need going into this trade deadline for the North Bay Battalion. Now, the deadline's not over, still a couple of days as we're taping this, but I think this is probably going to be the biggest move North Bay makes.
Well, it'll be interesting. You're right about the scoring depth. It has been an issue. I think Procession got 2 the other day, so I think he's up to 12 goals. I think Wellenreiter has 11. So, yeah, they need that big score. And you know, we don't want to. Remember Cam Warren was gone for the team for a while with injury, and the U17, and of course Ryder Cali was off to a hot start, was leading the team, wasn't he, in scoring till he got injured. So, but yeah, a little more depth scoring wise was probably the big reason behind the trade.
It's going to be interesting to see how, when Caden Petrie comes back, he's kind of the forgotten man in all of this, because he was great when we saw him when he first started, but then he got hurt and has been out of the lineup ever since. Depth scoring, you touched on it, Bob, really important in that game against Sudbury. Other than Ryder Cali's goal, which was the 5th goal of the game, it was all one line, Procession's line. And so we do need to generate depth scoring. We'll see what Gervais can produce in that spot. And when Petrie comes back, really excited to see how we can become more than a one-line team, because those are so easy to shut down in the playoffs.
I like this deal, too, because it brings in 2 guys who are probably going to be more motivated now joining a team that's fighting for home ice advantage in the Eastern Conference, as opposed to being on a team that's probably going to just kind of get by in making the playoffs in Saginaw. And like you said, Ranj, they're a team that won the Memorial Cup, so now they're kind of going back into the rebuild cycle now. But I mean, for Gervais, his next goal will be a new career high for him. He had 34 points in the 23-24 season. He's got 25 as he comes over to North Bay. So yeah, the motivation is there to have a really strong finish to his OHL career, see how much further they can go into the postseason again, and see if he can set some new personal records for himself. But I think what this also does for North Bay is it's going to allow their younger group to probably get some more meaningful playoff experience under their belts, right? This move allows North Bay to say, we are going to not only make the playoffs, possibly have home ice advantage in the first round, and make life difficult for whoever comes up against us in that first round.
I think we now have 3 players that played the majority of their careers in the Western Conference, which is a more physical type of style of hockey compared to the East. I think we can agree that the Battalion maybe felt that they weren't balanced correctly as a hockey team in terms of speed, skill, size, physical play, 200-foot game, and so they're trying to balance the lineup out that way as well. I think that was part of it, bringing in a Caden Petrie, trading a Pazzi, bringing in a couple of veterans, making the defense more physical, just sort of balancing out their roster a bit more.
We're talking about Barch family and the games against Niagara. This is off topic, but Niagara picks up Jakub Kromiak from Kitchener, and when we played against Kitchener, I thought he was their best defenseman. So I mean, it's just weird this trade deadline and the moves you make, and you just wonder if Kitchener doesn't have something else up their sleeve that we don't know about right now.
That's what I would
Guelph
think.
too.
Because he's a World Junior player. He played for the Czech Republic, I believe. So, and they just lost in the gold medal game. So, yeah, they may have something up their sleeve with maybe one of the other World Junior players for Canada or one of the other countries.
Yeah, Guelph made a move as well that sort of threw me off. They got a 19-year-old. Just trying to look it up. Tyler Hopkins from Kingston, but then they traded away 4 picks and Alex McLean, who's having a really strong
They
first
also
year.
traded away Charlie Paquette, their captain, to
Yeah,
Brantford.
so I don't know. I don't understand.
Brantford's got everybody right
Brantford's
now.
got, or Flint. Flint's been making a lot of good moves too. So just before we wrap this up, I think Bart will give the Battalion 7 overage eligible players next season. So you've got Mike McIver, Jack Lisson, Caden Petrie, Brant Harper, Nolan Lair, Nick Wellenreiter, as well as Ethan Procession. So the Battalion can wait until the summer to see who might be looking for a 20-year-old. You also have some guys in that group that might opt to go to the NCAA. But do you think that makes them need to hurry up and make a move now with one of these extra 19-year-olds that they have on their team now?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think they got to. I mean, it depends. You know, if they make a deal like this, they obviously have a plan on how they're going to deal with that overage situation when next season comes around. But next season's a long way away. I think right now they're just trying to. I think they want that home ice. They want that 4th spot. That's a reasonable goal in the second half of the year, and they just want to do what they can before the deadline expires to put themselves in a good position.
I think Ethan Procession is ready to be a pro player next year in the American Hockey League. You wouldn't come back with 2 OA goalies. So those 2 decisions, I think, I guess there's a big decision as to which OA goalie you'd like to invite back. But if we're going to be going for it with the Memorial Cup in the Ontario Hockey League in Guelph next year, I don't mind having an OA goalie for a deep playoff run and a Memorial Cup appearance, our first. Well, actually, the Centennials, of course, went. But and so you have to find out from these players what they're doing, because that's a new wrinkle in this whole equation, is what some of these players want to do next year, given that they have NCAA possibilities. They still have CIS possibilities if they want to advance their educational goals. So, the numbers, seems like a lot of players that are eligible to be OAs next year, but then as you start going through it, the numbers whittle down quickly, and you might have to, it might be the new reality, you have to carry a lot of the players of this age just so you have the chance of having 3 OA players the following year.
And I think, you mentioned the NC2A, and this is the first year of this arrangement now between the NCAA and junior hockey and in Canada, and I don't think we'll really know the impact of it until we go through a whole cycle of a player's career to really understand how long the elite players are going to keep playing in the OHL. Do we get them earlier because they don't want to go to the USHL? When do they go to university in terms of, is it everybody goes? Is it just the top 5 guys, half of them? We don't know yet. And so clubs are really learning as they go on how they're treating these situations, so it's going to be interesting to follow this story over the next several years.
It's also a two-way street, because players are starting to come back from the NCAA. You have Christian Humphreys came back from NCAA. Ottawa's going to have, I think, a new player in their roster who's coming back from Michigan, where he wasn't getting any ice time. So it's an interesting thing that OHL players might watch the experience of these guys who went NCAA and then it didn't turn out to be what they expected, weren't getting ice time, their development was delayed because there's only a certain number of players that they need on the ice at once. So watch for NCAA players to come back. And we had one right here in Ertl who came back from Cornell because it just wasn't working out for him. So it's a two-way street.
It certainly is. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to have some more trade talk after this. Later in the show, we're going to be joined by the assistant coach of the Ottawa 67s, nor Millie, and we'll also hear from AJ. And we've got a brand new segment for you as well called Ceasefire, which should be a ton of fun. So lots more on the way right here on Troops Trio, the official podcast of the North Bay Battalion. This is the Sports Illustrated Tickets Battalion defining moment of the week. From big plays on the ice to the fans in the stands who make every game special, Sports Illustrated Tickets gets you closer to the moments that matter with seats to sports, concerts, and theater events around the globe. Visit sitickets.com or download the app today.
20 seconds left in the Wolves. Here's a chance on the near side. Vaughn to the middle, looks, set, fires, he scores! Parker Vaughn, a short-handed goal and a beauty.
Sports Illustrated Tickets, the official partner of the North Bay Battalion and the Troops Trio podcast. Welcome back. We want to thank Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad Beverages for bringing you this show, as well as our community sponsors, the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Fox and Fiddle, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, and the Moose Cookhouse. Make sure you check out the Battalion's social media channels to find out all the latest with Troops Trio. And don't forget, you can send your comments and questions to us at Troops Trio at BattalionHockey.com. Here is this week's Troops Trio trivia question. If you want to win a signed Battalion puck by a mystery player, then use the hashtag Troops Trio in the comments section below. The question is, which North Bay Battalion alumni played for Team Switzerland at the 2018 Winter Olympics? Again, use the hashtag Troops Trio in the comments section below for your chance to win a mystery player signed puck. All right, everyone. AJ's here. Let's welcome AJ to the show.
AJ.
Gentlemen,
AJ,
Happy New Year.
Happy
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
you
Good to
as
see
well.
everybody. Did everybody have a good holiday?
Awesome holiday, yeah?
Well, we didn't really have a holiday too much, Bob. We were at the rink quite a bit,
That's right.
watching some good hockey.
Yeah, we had 28th New Year's Eve game. I love it at 1 o'clock because you can begin your New Year's Eve celebrations earlier.
Exactly. What time did you go to bed New Year's Eve, Bob?
But 12:15.
Oh, you did make it?
Yes.
Nice. I didn't make it.
Neither did I.
I didn't make it. I think I was in bed by 10:45-ish.
Will you let my son stay up and watch the Canada game that night?
That's right.
He fell asleep, though, midway through the third period. So once it's over, I pick him up, and I'm carrying him out to bed, and he wakes up, and he's like, Daddy, I want to see the end of the game. And
I was
like,
watching that.
I was like, buddy, the game's been over for like 10 minutes. Like,
Good-
it's time for
good
bed.
bit,
Like,
good bit.
Yeah,
Matt is a good dad.
I try to be.
You're a good dad.
I would think so. He's good to us.
He is
Imagine
very
what
good.
how
to
he's
us.
like to his kids.
We were just saying off air that he is. What were we saying
I don't know what you were
About-
saying. I didn't hear it.
about the mailman? You're
I've got a lot on my
That he
shoulder.
mails
That is-
everything in.
Yeah,
Is that what he's- that's not a compliment. You know that, eh?
Carl Malone from the Utah Jazz, was it?
Utah Jazz, yeah.
The
one
mailman.
and
Because
only.
Matt is
always
carrying the mail
delivers.
for this podcast.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of mail, we've got some
where's
non-
the segue going?
We have
Where's
a
the
we've got
segue
some
going?
non-snail
I'm
mail,
on
right?
strike.
You've
Is
got
that okay then? No? Oh, they're not on strike anymore. So
I don't
I
know.
guess that's not funny.
It's being delivered now.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's just get to it. We'll just get to it.
I thought you had a fan question.
Oh, do you want to do the fan question first? All right, let's do the
That's
fan.
why I was saying mail, but I couldn't remember the word email, so I
Oh,
completely flubbed
well,
that.
maybe we should talk before we start these podcasts in the future.
There's an idea.
Hey? All right, here's the fan question, gentlemen. It comes from Sylvia from North Bay. Now, since it's trade deadline week, Sylvia wants to know what you think about teams trading insane amount of picks for sometimes even one player, and is it time for the OHL to allow teams to trade away their first round pick? Now, when I say that, I mean a future pick, because you can trade a first round pick after he's already played, like he's already been drafted, but you're not allowed to give away. Like, I can't say, oh, I want Bob Coles and I'm going to give you my first round pick in 2028. You can't do that.
So let's start with the what do we think about the insane amount of picks. I think it's sort of been reeled in over the last couple of years. I remember when the Battalion first came to North Bay in the first year of the trade deadline that I covered, I thought like there were like two players going for like 20 picks. I feel like it's been reined in a little bit this year. I actually had someone bring that up to me, and they messaged me and said, I'm only getting into the OHL for the first time really this year. what's with all the draft picks being moved? And I said, that's because that is the currency of the OHL. There's no cap space. You can't trade dollar value. So that is what you have to trade in terms of the assets that you have. And you only have so many roster spaces, so that's why you need to use your draft picks as currency.
Well, I don't, as to trading away a future first-round pick, I wouldn't have a problem with it because, if you're getting an elite player in the draft, like say you're getting an Eric Lindros, someone like that, and then you're getting, 5 or 6 players back, which can make your team immediately better, and maybe Lindros in that case, or a Mitch Marner, someone like that, I'm not going to go play in a certain market, but you benefit from picking him. You trade his rights. You get, say, 6 players, and you're in a big rebuild, and you have to get better right away. I know why the OHL won't do it, because then it'll happen every year, and it'll go crazy. But I have no problem with it allowing it, the league allowing it. But I don't think it'll happen.
What do you think is the reason why that rule is in place? Is that to stop teams from sabotaging themselves maybe in the future?
Yeah.
Like making a deal and go, I'm going to give you my first round pick for the next 5 years.
Exactly.
And then they're going to be in the basement for the next 5 years after that. Is that you think?
Do you remember those the last years before the Centennials moved, and some of the trades that the Centennials made that were just dreadful? I don't think you can trust certain GMs with a team's future. They would trade all the first-round picks away just to save their job, and then the team would be bankrupt for 5 seasons in a row.
I think what it does is it helps keep teams relevant even if they aren't having a good season, because then they go, well, we got this first-round draft pick, and it could be a top 5 pick, and now the fan base stays engaged on that next guy. Remember when the Battalion had the first pick, and it was, people were trying to figure out who Ty Nelson was before he was even drafted here. Maybe it was Adam Fantilli that they were getting interested in. That's a benefit to your league when people stay involved, and as well to the markets that maybe aren't as competitive every single year.
And weren't the Niagara Ice Dogs, they had a first-round pick stripped from
yes,
them?
That's right, yeah.
lost a
Right,
pick,
for some irregularities off the ice with the staff. And that had an impact on them. They were cellar dwellers for 5 or 6 years as a result of just not having that first-round pick. So if you trade your picks away, you could be really putting your team in a real bind.
Yeah, plus if you've had a bad year or 3 bad years and you got the number 1 pick, and you want to give your fans some hope, you want to give fans hope that a Ty Nelson's around the corner or an Adam Fantilli or a Michael Misa, and then I guess the fear is they'll all end up in the same place, right? They'll all end up on one team, and
like the Brantford Bulldogs this year, pretty much.
And that's no fun either. So I understand why they won't do it, and they'll probably never do it. But personally, I don't have a problem with it.
It seems to facilitate trades to be able to move non-player assets, like draft picks, because if you didn't have that, teams don't have depth.
Right.
I mean, you have a certain number of players. You can't just you don't have a farm team to pull up players to replace.
You've got affiliate clubs, but it's not mandatory.
No.
Although, maybe it should be, right? Maybe those teams in the GOJHL or the NOJHL should officially be affiliate teams, but
they're not ready to step in. Like they
not all of them.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you get like a Steve Harlan, or this year a Jax Pereira, right? But
yeah.
But I think that's going to change. Brendan Shanahan's going to do that report and to put everything together for Ontario hockey. And that's one of the possibilities that you will have. You'll have an affiliate based in this community, and then only you determine what happens to those players as an OHL team. So,
are you talking about a Shanna plan?
A Shanna plan is
seen
coming
a
to
Shanna
Ontario.
plan.
it works so well for the Leafs. How could it fail? All right, AJ, you also got a ton of stuff that happened before Christmas and before New Year's that you want to talk about.
Yeah,
the community really came out and supported these initiatives.
Exactly. You know what? We always have all these initiatives that we put on, and then sort of time goes by and we don't actually tell you the results. And the teddy bear toss, we talked about it a lot in our previous podcast. And this year, I believe, was our most successful. We had 1,561 bears thrown onto the ice, which is outstanding, to be really honest with you. And then another event we had was we talked about the goals for souls. They came in 270 pairs of shoes were gifted that game. And then just over the weekend, we had the Highway 17 rivalry game with the Sudbury Wolves, where we were trying to, on Friday night at our game in Sudbury, they were raising cans of food for the Sudbury Food Bank. And then we did the same thing here Sunday. We raised 2,800 pounds of food on Sunday, and with the combined total with Sudbury was 3,400 pounds. So a good little haul for both the North Bay and Sudbury Food Bank.
And it makes you realize the impact that the battalion are having on the community and the community's having on the battalion.
Well, it's even
Wait. What was the math on that?
Well, I did. Well, it was 600 pounds for Sudbury.
What is wrong with Sudbury?
No. I know. But see, that's exactly why I did the number, because
You're a politician.
and you know what though, it was still a good cause, right?
What was it? 1,800 to 600?
It was 2,800 to 600. So we raised 2,800 pounds.
They have 3 times the population of North Bay.
I don't know. One of our camera people is from Sudbury. Maybe we'll have to ask her after the show why
600
why her
pounds.
hometown isn't as giving as North
You know,
Bay is.
my whole thing was I'm just trying to be, you know, it is still 600 pounds, and we still thank them.
Thank you, Sudbury.
And
Thank you for your 600 pounds.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I'm
that's
sure
okay.
this initiative, I
We'll
think
move
it's
our
its first
28
year.
pounds, 100 pounds out of the way so you can put your 600 pounds on the table.
No,
Thank
no,
you,
we're not
Sudbury.
moving. We're not doing that. It's a nice initiative that's been started, and I'm sure
Yes.
when it goes in
If
for
we had,
future
hey, Matt, if we
years,
had any
Sudbury
viewers
will
watching
meet
us
a
in
challenger.
Sudbury, we just lost them. They're gone. They just went click.
They could not have
Unsubscribe.
possibly known. Maybe they didn't know that there was a contest
We'll chalk it
going
up to
on.
that. We'll chalk it up to maybe they
That
didn't realize.
indicates other problems, too,
Yeah,
if they,
well.
they didn't know.
You're just going right after that organization, aren't you?
It's
I'm
the
still,
total.
I'm still mad at Kotchadelic for going after Dom DiVincentis,
That's fair.
right?
Yeah, that's fair.
As you
That's
should be.
fair to hold a grudge over. That's
Producer
for sure.
Gerald, show the clip of Kotchadelic going after Dom DiVincentis.
What else you got going on, AJ?
What else we got here? What else we got? Oh, we actually have a game. We have a game coming up Thursday.
We sure do.
Ottawa 67s are here for Crime Stoppers night. Yeah, and you know what? Ottawa, they're number 1 team in the OHL right now. Number 5, I believe, ranked in the CHL since about mid-November. So they're a hot team coming in. They just got an old battalion player, Nick Sema, in a trade about an hour ago. So we'll get to see him back in the building. What else we got? Oh, this room that we're in today is the
Beautiful.
Wealth Management Captain's Lounge. Now, if you haven't been up here, fans, you can come up here before the game. You can order food. It's a restaurant. But you can also, if you have a small event, or if you're a hockey team that has the ice here and you want to have a catered event, you can actually rent this room and have, you know, birthday parties, whatever you need. And Gerald's going to put up the information on there, but you can just FB Supervisor at battalionhockey.com, and Steve can hook you up with all the catering needs. And they can also, you can get a suite, you get the scouts room, and they can all be fully catered by our awesome catering team here at the North Bay Battalion.
The food alone is worth the price. I tell people that all the time.
100%.
And a lot of
100%. Best
battalion
food in the league.
history in these 4 walls, too. So
Well, we have another wall coming up here. We'll talk about in the next week or two. I can't remember what it's called, but it's I think it's like a lifetime or like achievement, and there's 3 more jerseys going up. So we'll talk about that probably in the future to come up. But
Yeah. So
well, we were gonna talk about this, Bob. Who we thought was going to be the best. We talked about the other day, but who we thought was going to be the best ever goaltender, and those 2 jerseys are going up there.
awesome.
So
Julian Syme.
Probably not.
no.
No?
Might be a guy that played a few more playoff games than him going up.
you know-
Symer battled. He was a battler.
Oh yeah, for sure.
and those
he
were
did.
those were
Hey, you
bleak
know what I always
days.
remember with him though is like 'cause he came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and then he signed like a 4-year educational thing, and if anything, He got 4 years of schooling paid for.
He sure
for
did.
it was only what, half a season. He
Waterloo.
played?
I think he went to Waterloo or something.
I don't know. Now you're really
Yeah.
testing my knowledge.
Or Laurier, somewhere, KW somewhere.
But I'm sure the fans can probably guess maybe which jerseys those are. Who do you think it is? Leave your comments in the comment section.
Syme time.
I think that's it.
That's it. That's good for you. All right.
That's it.
AJ, thank you so much. We're going to take one more quick break. On the other side, assistant coach of the Ottawa 67s, Norm Milley, joins us, and we'll take a look at the week ahead for the North Bay Battalion with Ryan Olhan with our Coffee with the Coach and the debut of our new segment called Ceasefire. This is Troops Trio, the official podcast of the North Bay Battalion.
The OHL has also shown incredible support of Ontario's minor hockey system. Events such as the OHL Combine, the OHL Cup, U14 OHL Cup, and the OHL Gold Cup are marquee events in a minor hockey player's career. The Ontario Hockey League is proud to demonstrate its leadership and commitment to development of the young men and communities it serves.
My OHL is where people can speak up because it's all about communication. And at the end of the day, it's just so important that lines of communication are open. An environment is fostered and one that players and staff feel as though, they're supported and that should they have any concerns, there's a very clear process in terms of, how to bring them forward.
Here's a chance. And score! Oh, my goodness! What a beauty there! One-time shot. He scores! Absolute threat. He scores! Loads it up shot. One throw and he scores!
Welcome back. We want to thank Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad Beverages for bringing you this show, as well as our community sponsors, the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Fox and Fiddle, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, and the Moose Cookhouse. Make sure you check out the Battalion social media channels to find out all the latest with Troops Trio. All right, the Battalion, going into this week, they've got two more big games. Ottawa coming into town. They'll visit the Steelheads in Brampton, back-to-back nights. And Bob, you had a chance to catch up with the assistant coach of the Ottawa 67s, Norm Milley. So, producer Gerald, let's hear from Norm and Bob right now.
Okay, joining us on Troops Trio is Norm Milley, the assistant coach for the Ottawa 67s. Well, Norm, I think a lot of people are surprised with how well your group is doing this year. What are some of the reasons maybe why, you guys have missed the playoffs last year and you're in first place in your division. What have you noticed day to day about your team?
Well, right away, there's two things that step out for me. The first thing is our leadership group. Cooper Foster, Frankie Morelli, Connor Buick. Some of our older guys have done a real good job at leading and taking charge in the locker room and setting things by an example, the work ethic. The second thing is our young guys, the players we brought in, they push the pace and they compete hard. Compete is something you can't really teach. You wish you got it in practice, but when you get these young guys coming in, competing, and the older leadership group taking charge, it's been like night and day compared to last year.
Are you noticing when you play other teams lately that, it's more of a challenge for them to get the 2 points, and so the games are a little more intense?
Yeah, we've, when teams play us, they know, that we're a team that competes and they work hard. Our system, our structure is pretty good. So whenever we play teams now, we're expecting, their best game. And, it's a credit to our guys. We earn it, put ourselves in a position. But for us, the one thing I like about our group is no matter what happened in the past, we keep going forward and we don't, remiss on a game we played, say, for example, on Friday. If we won, 5-1 on Friday, it doesn't matter what happened on Friday. They come ready to compete. New day, Saturday, new game. So it's a real good thing by our leadership group who have done a good job.
Your goaltending, I think, stands out this year, right? I mean, not only is it impressive, but it's impressive from two guys, which must make very comfortable for the coaches, right? Knowing that whoever you put out there, you're going to be in the game.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely comforting knowing that whatever goal you put in, they give ourselves a chance to win. There's been a handful of games this year where our goaltending gave us a chance to win in that first period. If it wasn't for our goaltending after the first period, we might have been down 3 goals. So for us, we're very fortunate and lucky to have 2 really good goaltenders.
Good rivalry with the Battalion, as you know, and it's always a fun game at the Boart Longyear Memorial Gardens. What's it going to take? What are some of the challenges, rather, that the Battalion give you when you play them?
Well, they're very similar to us. They're very structured. They compete. They work hard. So we got to stay into our structure for 60 minutes and limit our mistakes. The game is made of mistakes, and the team that makes the least amount usually comes out on top. So for us, it's getting off to a good start, managing it, and playing solid 60 minutes with detailed structure.
One more for you. You made a deal this week in the deadline, bringing in Nick Sema. We know him here, of course, and he's got some Memorial Cup experience as well. So what do you see? What are you expecting from Nick Sema as he joins your team?
Well, we're real excited with the experience he brings, and just knowing the person. We talked to the coach afterwards, Lazary, and he said he's one of his all-time favorite players. He brings a lot of off-ice experience and a lot of knowledge, and the one thing he said about him is he's a great teammate. And so when we look at bringing players in, we don't just look at maybe the best offensive guy. We look for guys who are going to fit into our structure, who's going to buy in, who buys into the team game. And so we're real excited for Sema to join our group, and looking forward to getting going here with our new guys.
Okay, thanks for this, Norm, and safe travels, and we'll see you Thursday night.
Great, thank you very much.
So great, as always, to catch up with Norm, Bob, and you also had a chance to catch up with North Base coach Ryan Olahan. So let's jump right into that and get Ryan's thoughts on those 2 games coming up this weekend between the North Bay Battalion and the Ottawa 67s on the Thursday night and the Brampton Steelheads on the Friday night. Producer Gerald, let's hear that clip now.
Well, another edition of Coffee with Coach, head coach of the North Bay Battalion, Ryan Olahan, of course. And Ryan, this week, just 2 games, but one of the most improved teams, if not the most improved team in the league, Ottawa, comes here on Thursday. You played them before. What have you noticed about their game?
Yeah, again, this is we're not shocked about the turnaround that this team has from one year to the next. They're always extremely well coached, and I think that would be what I would say about them. Just doing a deep dive here on them, we're already getting prepared for them on Thursday. There's just no weakness, and that's probably the biggest strength that they have is they don't have weaknesses. They play a team game. They got lots of depth throughout their lineup. Very similar to kind of how we want to go about things as well. So 2 similar teams in terms of how we're made up. And, it should be a real good test for us. They've gotten the better of us here so far in this season, and I think it's a good challenge that, maybe we can start off this weekend on a real good note against, what the ranked number 1 team in our league as of right now. So looking forward to the challenge.
And the week wraps up with a road game in Brampton, so we wish you a happy new year and all the coaching staff and the players, and looking forward to a fun second half.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, we're really looking forward to the fun second half. We're glad to be back and at it here. Happy New Year, and looking forward to more of these in the second half.
I know we're going to talk about Ottawa in a minute in part of our new segment, but to me, Matt, Ottawa, is a perennial good hockey program. And when they had a year like last year, they really underperformed. They missed the playoffs. Their fan base was a little concerned with the direction it was going, and so they made a couple of key acquisitions. They're a younger team than last year. They've had outstanding goaltending, and this fellow Kuda played at the World Juniors, played really solid, and so of course they had good players before, but I think they've just supplemented it, and they're really hard to score on. Their goaltending's outstanding, and you get a coach like Dave Cameron who doesn't have that distraction of dealing with the World Junior story, and he's with the team all year. I think it's really paying off in benefits for Ottawa. So, and there's a great rivalry between the Battalion and the 67s. They play hard, tough hockey games, and so it should be a fun one on Thursday night.
They've lost just 7 games in regulation time in 38 games played. That's
awesome.
a heck of a start to the first half of the
I mean,
season.
they're the best team in the Ontario Hockey League right now. Dave Cameron coached team. They play with structure. They bought in. The goaltending, that was a wild card at the beginning of the season. They knew what they had. Jan Eggert, the GM, knew that he had a good team. Nobody else really did think that they were going to move from 9th in the Eastern Conference to 1st the way they have. And I think a lot of people were thinking it's like a Cinderella scenario, but it's kind of the way they thought the Blue Jays were a Cinderella team, but there's really some substance there. There's some meat on the bones in Ottawa, and I think North Bay's got to be ready to play right from the opening puck drop and play a hard, heavy game that we have seen North Bay do before. When they get their best results, they're playing that hard, heavy game, and if they are able to do that, I think we're in for like a 1-goal game, like a 3-2, 2-1 type of thing, maybe even overtime.
And then as Coach Houlihan touched on, the next night they will be in Brampton. North Bay are 1-1 against the Steelheads this season. Their last meeting was a 4-3 win at home over the Brampton Steelheads in overtime. Brampton down at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, but anytime you get a division rival, and especially when you have to play them so many times a year, sometimes those teams just have your number.
And they traded Von Richter, and they traded Zabeski to Barrie. So Barrie's made themselves stronger, and then Brampton's looking towards the future. So really these are points the Battalion need to get if they want to, catch Peterborough now. Peterborough, Kingston, Niagara, North Bay, all those 4 teams, 4 through 7, and that's going to be the fight for home ice advantage in the first round. So those are important 2 points for North Bay on Friday.
Very well said, Bob. It's an important 2 points Friday. Can't look past Ottawa, of course. But no matter what happens against Ottawa on Thursday night, North Bay must win on Friday to prove that they are actually not pretenders, but possibly contenders in a very challenging Eastern Conference. You can't go into Brampton and lose that game. It would be unfathomable to me that they have to win that game to show what kind of team that we have. You have to win. You cannot lose games at this point of the season to teams like Brampton, who've just traded their best assets away, like you said.
Yeah, and especially if you're North Bay, you've added.
It's a trap.
Right? It is a trap game. It sure
Brutal.
is, because you could come in and play really well against Ottawa despite the outcome, and then go into the next game thinking, well, this is going to be a cakewalk considering what we just did to Ottawa, right? So it's a tricky weekend for North Bay, and I think Ryan Houlihan's going to really have to hone that message in on the team that, hey, like we are already buyers at the deadline. We got to start making some noise now in the Eastern Conference.
You want to take that crowd out of the game in Brampton early with an early goal.
Okay, is there going to be more pounds in the seats in Brampton, or more pounds given by the Sudbury Wolves fans?
That's like a Bet 365 type of parlay.
What's the parlay?
Obscure parlay.
What are the FanDuel odds on that?
Exactly.
All right.
Sudbury, bring your A game next time, Sudbury.
Before we go, we're going to play the first ever round of our segment called
1 minute to ceasefire.
We've got 5 topics on the board. We get 20 seconds each to give our take on each topic. So there you see the topics right there. And whenever producer Gerald is ready, we'll fire off the first one. So topic 1, after Team Canada had to settle for a bronze medal at the World Junior, Ranj, would you consider the switch to Dale Hunter as the coach a success or a flop?
A 4-letter word starting with F, flop, because he had enormous talent and it was there for him for the taking, and somehow he just wasn't able to motivate his team to play London Knights-style playoff hockey when it mattered most.
Bob?
I would say a success, considering the last 3 years. They won a gold medal basically because of Connor Bedard and eliminated in the quarters the next 2 years. They needed a solid performance by this team. They got it. They were into the bronze medal game, which I thought was really important. So a successful run for Canada, not the gold they wanted.
Not the goal they wanted, but certainly being able to bring home a medal better than they've done in the last couple of years. Topic number 2, who is your mid-season MVP for the North Bay Battalion?
I'll go first, and it's the captain. I think he's carried the team. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they had some injuries early on, but especially to Callie, that hurt. But Ethan Procession, he's the leader of this group, and he's starting to show that. He's working really hard in practice, working really hard in games, being a leader, being more vocal, so I think it's him.
Because I'm a card-carrying member of the Goaltenders Union, I'm going to say Jack Lisson, because he's given us a chance to win every night the way he's been playing lately. And as a goalie who's got good size, 6'1", 190 pounds, moves well, economical with his movements in the crease, I would like to think that he would get some pro consideration, even though his draft year has passed. I think he's calm and poised in net, and something that is going to be very good for us down the stretch.
I was going to say Jack Lisson too, but I'm out of time to explain it. Topic number 3, the Ottawa 67s have the best record in the Eastern Conference, but are they for real?
I say that they are for real. There's a great resume there with Dave Cameron, and they have a program. They play the same way all the time, and they've got more talent in this year, more young talent, and they're for real, no doubt about it.
I think Ottawa is for real. They brought in Nick Sema. He's got the best hockey hair in the league. The flow is amazing, and he's going to bring that flow to the Ottawa 67s. Dave Cameron coach team, tough to beat, especially when it comes to the playoffs. They took a year off from the playoffs. They came close, but we nudged them out at the end in the last weekend. But they're playing good hockey, and the goaltending is off the charts. Right, Felterhoff has been amazing for them.
Yeah, bouncing back from a tough season last year, and they've got guys that can score. They've got guys that can defend. And the battle of the Amadovskis should be fun to watch as well if these two teams meet in the playoffs. Topic number 4, we've seen a number of players leave the OHL and go play in the NCAA, where the average freshman age is 21, but some OHLers are playing there 2 to 3 years younger than them. So at what age should they actually make the jump?
I think they should have had to play 3 years in the OHL before committing to an NCAA. So fans can expect their favorite players to be on the ice for 3 years. And then after that, it'll be how old they are. But to me, it's important that they play at least 3 years in an OHL city.
I don't want to put an age on it. If they can dominate at the OHL level to the point where there is no value in their development to come back and repeat that dominance another year, then they can go NCAA. But for most players, that doesn't happen until their 4th or 5th year in the OHL.
I also wonder, what courses are you taking as a 17 or 18-year-old at a university or college that, it's going to benefit you from that student athlete lifestyle. So, I think there should be a couple of extra years under your belt in major junior hockey. All right, last question. The Olympic rosters are set. Tell me, what is a bigger shock, Sam Bennett not making Team Canada or Jason Robertson not making Team USA?
Sam Bennett. I mean, this guy is the quintessential Canadian hockey player, and you're going to have to find a way to stop the U.S. from beating you for gold. And Sam Bennett is a guy He'll stand up to the Americans. He'll fight if he has to. Plays that physical style, and he's so clutch. He's so clutch. We see that in the playoffs every year. And so Jason Robertson, a tough call for the U.S. team. A lot of options, but Sam Bennett, can't believe he's not on the team.
Yeah, I agree with most of what you said. I think the United States, they have some depth in the forward position, so Robertson's the odd man out. Hopefully there's, from his sake, maybe there's an opportunity to get back in if there's an injury or something like that. But he's an OHLer, and I think that it would have been nice to see Robertson play for USA. But Sam Bennett, irreplaceable up front, the sandpaper. Can't stand him as a Leafs fan, but but you want him when he's wearing the red and white.
And that brings us to an end of Ceasefire. That's going to wrap it up for us on this episode of Troops Trio. We want to thank Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad Beverages for bringing you this show, as well as our community sponsors, the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Fox and Fiddle, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, and the Moose Cookhouse. And make sure you check out the Battalion's social media channels to find out all the latest with Troops Trio. We want to thank our camera operators, Cassidy and Marley, Caden for doing our behind-the-scenes footage, our show coordinator, Owen, our producer, Gerald, our hype man, AJ Jakeman, and executive producer, Steve Batanti. For Bob Coles and Ranjan Rupal, I'm Matthew Sookram, and this has been Troops Trio.